The sun was hot and high over the endless desert road. Dust blew across the cracked ground as a long silver hovercar sped along the highway. Inside the car, silence filled the space like a heavy fog. Mira sat quietly in the passenger seat. Her hands rested on her round stomach. She was 8 months pregnant. Her breathing was slow and her face was pale. She looked out the window, watching the dry land stretch far in every direction. There was nothing but sand, broken rocks, and old wind towers. Darren, her husband, sat in the driver's seat. His jaw was tight, his expensive sunglasses covered. His eyes, he didn't say a word. His attention was only on the road, or maybe just away from her. They had been arguing earlier. It started small about the heat, about the trip, but it quickly grew louder. Darren said she was slowing him down, that she always complained, that she wasn't like she used to be. Mira didn't answer. She was tired, not just from carrying the baby, but from months of being ignored. Darren had changed. Ever since he made his fortune in solar tech and started meeting rich friends at off-world resorts, he became colder. Now they were driving through the middle of nowhere, headed for one of those private resorts hidden in the mountains. Darren said it would clear his mind. Mira had wanted to stay in the city, near a hospital, but he insisted. And she, once again, agreed, hoping he'd change if they just had time alone. But now, there was only silence. Suddenly, Darren slowed the car and pulled into a dusty side road. Mira looked around, confused. "Where are we going?" she asked. Softly, "There's a gas station up ahead," Darren said without looking at her. "I need a break." "A break?" Darren didn't answer. The car rolled to a stop in front of a small, worn-out gas station. The sign above it flickered, "Solar Fill, last stop." The place looked like it hadn't seen customers in weeks. One lonely solar panel sat tilted at the side. A metal door creaked in the wind. The desert around it was completely empty. Darren turned off the engine and stepped out. Mira stayed inside, confused. "Can we go?" "It's too hot," she called, but Darren didn't respond. He walked around to her door, opened it, and said, "Get out." Mira blinked. "What?" "I need space." "You can rest here for a while." "You're joking." "I'm not," he said flatly. "I need to think. You're always ... It's too much. I'll come back later." Mira sat frozen for a moment. Then she slowly stepped out. The heat hit her like a wall. Her feet sank slightly into the sand. She held her stomach with one hand and looked around. The place felt strange, too quiet. "Darren, please, this isn't right," she said, but Darren was already getting back into the car. He started the engine and looked at her one last time through the window. "I just need a few days," he said. "You'll be fine." And with that, the silver hovercar lifted slightly, turned, and drove off into the dust. Mira stood alone. The car became smaller and smaller, then disappeared behind a hill. The wind blew her hair across her face. She was breathing harder now from shock and heat. Her hands trembled. She turned toward the gas station. It looked old, maybe even older than the solar tech that powered it. She walked slowly to the door, knocked, and pushed it open. Inside was a small shop. A few dusty shelves, an old drink machine, and a desk with a computer that blinked weakly. Behind the counter stood a thin old man with silver hair and sharp eyes. He looked surprised to see anyone, let alone a pregnant woman. "Did your car break down?" he asked kindly. Mira hesitated. "No, I was left here." The old man raised his eyebrow, but didn't ask more. He came around the counter and offered her a chair. "You look tired. Sit down." She sat, grateful. Her legs ached, her back hurt. But more than anything, her heart felt heavy. The man brought her a cool bottle of water and a slice of bread from the back room. "I'm Vern," he sighed. "I keep this place running. Not much used these days, but I like the quiet." "I'm Mira," she said, holding the bottle tightly. Thank you. She didn't tell him about Darren or the argument or how she felt so alone. She just sat and sipped the water slowly, looking around the old station. Vern watched her for a moment, then said, "Strange how life works. You think you're headed one way, and suddenly the road splits." Mira didn't answer, but her eyes filled with tears. Outside, the wind picked up. A soft hum came from beneath the floor. Mira turned her head. "What's that sound?" she asked. Vern looked down. It's old tech under the station. Some kind of deep energy core left behind from before my time. The ground here isn't normal. Sometimes it hums at night. I got used to it." Mira felt a small kick from her baby, as if it had heard the sound too. She didn't know it yet. But this place, this broken, forgotten gas station, was more than just a stop in the desert. It was the beginning of something much bigger. Something no one, not even Darren, could ever imagine. Mira woke early the next morning. The desert air was cool now. Soft wind brushed the broken window panes of the old gas station. Mira sat up on the cot Vern had prepared for her in the back room. Her body ached, but her mind felt clearer than the day before. She rubbed her belly gently. The baby was calm. Still, outside, the early light painted the sky orange and gold. The long road stretched empty, just like yesterday. No cars. No sound except the soft hum that still came from deep below the floor. Mira stood slowly and walked toward the main shop. Vern was already there, sipping warm tea and reading something on a small screen. He looked up and smiled. "Morning," he said. "Sleep well?" "Better than I expected," she said. "Thank you again." "You're welcome. No one ever comes here anymore. It's nice to have company, even for strange reasons." Mira gave a small smile. She wanted to ask something that had been bothering her since yesterday. "That sound under the floor, it's still humming." Vern nodded. "It does that sometimes. You'll get used to it." "What is it?" she asked. Vern set his cup down. He stood, walked over to the floor near the back shelf, and pointed at a small metal hatch. It looked old, maybe even older than the station. "This place was built on something," he said. "Long before this station existed, this area was part of a hidden research zone. Government, private tech companies, no one really knows." Mira looked at the hatch. "Did you ever open it?" "I tried once," Vern said. "Years ago. It was sealed tight. Then one day it just opened on its own." Mira looked at him, surprised. "What did you find?" Vern gave her a thoughtful look. "I'll show you," he said quietly. He walked over, turned a hidden switch behind the counter, and suddenly a soft blue light blinked on near the hatch. Then, with a quiet click, the hatch slowly opened. Cool air rose from the space below. "Be careful on the steps," Vern warned. "It's safe, but strange." Mira hesitated, but her curiosity pushed her forward. She followed Vern down the metal stairs, holding the railing tightly. The underground level was dim, lit by soft blue lights in the walls. The space was bigger than she expected. Metal walls, smooth floors, and strange symbols lined the edges. It didn't feel like anything made by humans. Vern walked ahead, pointing at different corners. "Half of this place isn't even on maps," he said. "Some of the machines still work. I don't know how." Mira stopped near a glowing panel. It blinked gently, like it was waiting for something. Suddenly, it lit up brighter. A low voice echoed from the walls. Not a real voice, but something smooth, mechanical, yet soft. "Biometric presence detected. Compatible DNA pattern found. Identity confirmed. Human tier alpha." Mira froze. What was that? Vern turned slowly. His face showed pure confusion. "I've never heard it do that before," he whispered. The lights along the wall brightened, and a door ahead slid open on its own. Behind it was a room filled with large screens, machines, and a glowing center sphere that pulsed with a soft, silver light. Symbols moved across the walls, but then slowly changed into simple English. "Welcome, the anchor has arrived." Mira took a step back. "What does this mean?" "I don't know," Vern said, stunned. "I've never seen this room open before." Mira looked at the center sphere. The hum in the air was stronger here, but it didn't feel dangerous. In fact, it felt calm. She walked closer. The sphere pulsed brighter as she approached. And then the voice spoke again. "System awakening. Connection to human host established. Preparing knowledge transfer." Suddenly, a wave of light moved over Myra. It didn't hurt. It felt like a breeze brushing past her skin. The baby inside her moved gently. The air around her shimmered. Images filled her mind, flashes of cities, space stations, warships, alien stars, and energy waves. It was too much. Mira stepped back, holding her head. The lights dimmed. Transfer paused. Physical host at risk. Recalibrating. Mira breathed heavily. Her heart was racing. Vern rushed over. "Are you all right?" She nodded slowly. "It showed me something. Places I've never seen. Things far beyond Earth." Vern looked around the room. "This isn't human tech. That much is clear. I always thought it was old government science. But now? Maybe not." Mira sat on a small bench at the side of the chamber. Her mind was spinning, but something inside her felt strangely sure, like she was meant to be here. "Why me?" She asked aloud. As if answering, the system responded again. "You are carrying a rare life signature. Unmatched across all scan databases, you are the anchor. The one who can restore balance." Vern looked at Myra. "Anchor?" He repeated. "What does that mean?" Mira didn't know, but deep down, a part of her began to understand. She had always felt forgotten, left behind, pushed aside by a world that didn't value calm strength or quiet love. Even Darren treated her like she was small, unimportant. But this place, this strange, buried system saw something different. Something powerful, something the rest of the universe needed. She stood slowly and looked around the glowing chamber. "This was waiting for someone," she whispered. "And it chose me." Outside, the desert winds grew stronger, but deep underground, something ancient had begun to awaken, something that had waited a long time for the right person to arrive. Mira wasn't just a woman left behind. She was about to become something far more. Mira sat quietly inside the glowing room under the gas station. The strange blue lights on the walls had dimmed to a calm glow. The humming sound was softer now, almost like a heartbeat in the air. It was peaceful, yet full of meaning. The baby inside her moved again, slow, gentle kicks that made her place her hands over her belly. Vern stood beside her, arms crossed, eyes wide with wonder. "I lived above this for over 20 years, he said. "And I never knew it was alive." Mira looked up at the round sphere in the center of the room. It hovered in place, gently spinning like a waiting moon. She still remembered the words it spoke. "You are the anchor, the one who can restore balance." She didn't fully understand what that meant, but it had chosen her. The voice from the system returned, soft but clear. "Welcome, Myra. System calibration complete. You are now connected to Kairos." "Kairos?" Mira repeated softly. The lights in the room shifted. A soft image appeared in front of her, a figure made of light, tall and smooth, with no face. It floated just above the ground. "Kairos is the name I was given," the voice said through the light figure. "I am a sentient system designed to observe, protect, and restore balance across planetary networks. My last full connection was over 500 years ago." Vern whistled. 500 years? That's ancient." Mira stood slowly. "Why now? Why wake up now?" "The signal was activated by your life form," Kairos said. "Your unborn child carries a unique energy pattern, a rare biological Frequency. This pattern has not been seen on Earth in over 1,000 years. It is linked to deep planetary systems hidden beneath Earth's surface. Myra's hand moved to her stomach. You're saying ... my baby did this? The child is part of it, Kairos replied. But the mother is the guide. Only together can the network be restored. Vern shook his head slowly. This is beyond anything I've ever heard. The room brightened again. A new panel opened on the far wall, revealing a map. It showed Earth from above, cities glowing, oceans calm, lights flickering like stars. But then, slowly, parts of the map turned dark. Red shapes appeared near the edges. Unknown symbols floated over them. What is that? Mira asked. That is the future, Kairos said. A possible future. There is a force approaching Earth. It is not human. It is not kind. Mira stared at the red symbols. Her heart beat faster. Long ago, Kairos continued, Earth had protectors, ancient systems built by early humans and those who came before. They worked together to defend this world from threats beyond the stars. But over time, the systems were forgotten, broken, lost. Only fragments remain. This station is one of them, and you think I can fix it? Mira asked. Not alone, Kairos answered. But with me and with your child you are the spark. You can help Earth remember what it was meant to be. Mira felt her legs weaken. She sat down again, breathing deeply. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a leader. I was left here by someone who didn't even care enough to stay. I'm just ... She stopped and looked down. You're more than you think, Vern said gently. He left, but you didn't fall apart. You stayed calm. You stayed strong. And maybe that's what this place needed. Mira looked up at Kairos again. What do I need to do? The figure raised its arms. A soft beam of light reached out toward her. It did not hurt. It felt warm like the sun on her skin. First, we must connect your energy to the core. It will not harm you or the child. It will strengthen the bond between your life and this system. Then, you will help reawaken the other nodes across the planet. Nodes? Mira asked. Other ancient centers like this one. Some are buried deep. Some may be damaged. All must be activated if Earth is to defend itself again. Mira nodded slowly. She didn't fully understand everything. But she understood enough. She couldn't walk away. Not now. All right, she said. Do it. Let's begin. The beam of light grew stronger. Mira closed her eyes as it surrounded her. She felt it flow through her, not like a machine, but like a gentle wave of knowledge, memory, and connection. Images filled her mind, other women, long ago, who stood where she stood now. Each one had guided the Earth during dark times. Each one was called Anchor. When the light faded, Mira opened her eyes. She didn't feel weaker. She felt ... brighter, like a fire had been lit inside her chest. Kairos stepped back. Connection complete. You are now fully linked to the core. Your presence will keep this node active. We can begin scanning for the others. Vern looked at her, clearly amazed. You're glowing. Not outside, but inside. Like something changed in you. Mira smiled. Faintly, I feel it too. Then a loud hum filled the room. The map of Earth flickered again. One of the red shapes moved closer to the planet. Kairos' voice became sharper. The threat is moving faster than expected. We must activate the next node immediately. Where is it? Mira asked. A point on the map lit up. It was deep in the north inside an abandoned mining zone, covered in ice. There's no time to wait. You must go there, Kairos said. This system will protect you while you travel. But each step forward will grow harder. Mira nodded. I'm ready, Vern stepped forward. You're not going alone. I'll go with you. Someone has to drive. She smiled. Thank you, Vern. Outside, the sun was rising again, but deep underground, something ancient had started to awaken, and it had chosen Mira, a woman the world had ignored. She wasn't just a pregnant wife anymore. She was the anchor, and Earth had begun to remember. The dusty desert air blew softly across the broken highway as Mira stood beside Vern's old solar truck. The sky above was pale blue, but the world felt heavier now. The ground beneath her feet no longer felt empty. She knew what lay under it: ancient power, forgotten knowledge, and a voice that had called her the anchor. She wasn't just waiting anymore. She had a mission. Kairos had shown her the map. There were more of these places, old hidden systems built deep in Earth's crust, long before modern history. One was buried in the frozen north, inside an old mining zone known for its unstable tunnels and cold winds. Mira didn't like the thought of traveling so far, not when she was this close to giving birth. But something inside her told her it had to be done. And it had to be done soon. The enemy, whatever it was getting closer. You sure about this? Vern asked, checking the battery panel on the truck. Mira nodded. We have to reach the second node before it's too late. Vern closed the panel and climbed into the driver's seat. All right then, let's bring Earth back to life. The truck moved steadily across the desert. Its tires were thick and strong, made for rough roads. Solar panels covered its roof, feeding the engine with power from the sun. Mira sat beside Vern, wrapped in a blanket, her hand on her belly. The baby was calm, but she could feel its quiet energy. Every few hours, Kairos spoke through a small screen on the dashboard, giving directions, weather updates, and warnings. The eye also scanned Mira's health every time she rested. Your energy signature is growing, Kairos said during one stop. The child is becoming more stable. Your connection to the system is strengthening. Mira didn't fully understand how it all worked, but she trusted it. Since that moment underground, something had changed inside her. She could feel things now: vibrations in the land, small signals in the air, like the world was whispering in a language she was only starting to understand. 2 days passed before they reached the edge of the cold zone. The sky turned gray. Snow began to fall. The wind was sharp and bitter. Vern parked the truck near the entrance of the abandoned mining site. The place was silent, hidden among tall hills and frozen stone. A faded sign read, North Ridge Mining Base, closed 2067. The gate was broken, steel fences bent from age and storms. Large tunnels led deep into the mountain. The area looked forgotten, empty. But Mira knew better. The second node is here, she said quietly. Vern grabbed 2 thermal coats from the back and handed one to her. Let's not waste time. Inside the tunnels, the air was colder and heavy with dust. Their boots echoed as they walked down the long metal path. Old mining machines rested like sleeping giants, covered in ice and rust. Lights flickered on the walls as their lamps passed by. Kairos guided them through a speaker. Turn left at junction 7. Move down 300 meters. Core signal is weak but active. They followed the instructions until they reached a sealed steel door. Strange markings covered the surface, symbols from no known language. Yet Mira somehow understood them. She stepped forward and placed her hand on the door. The steel lit up. Anchor recognized, said the voice from inside. The door opened with a slow hiss. Behind it was a room unlike the dusty tunnels outside. It was clean, glowing, full of soft blue and white lights. Machines stood tall on every side, waiting like guardians. In the center was another energy sphere, just like the one under the gas station, but this one was dim, pulsing slowly, as if sick or broken. Kairos, Mira said. Is it failing? Yes, came the reply. This node was damaged long ago. It needs energy from your pattern to reactivate. What do I do? She asked. Place your hands on the sphere. Focus your thoughts. The system will connect to you. Mira walked to the center. She removed her gloves and placed both hands on the smooth surface of the sphere. It was cold at first, but then it warmed beneath her touch. She closed her eyes. Memories filled her mind, not her own, but of others. People long gone, old anchors. Women and men who once stood in the same place to protect Earth during ancient times. Their courage filled her heart. The sphere began to glow brighter. Then, a wave of energy passed through her body. She gasped but stayed standing. From behind her, Vern watched in awe as the walls lit up and the machines powered on. Symbols appeared on the screens, turning slowly into maps, data, and warning lights. "It's working," he said. The voice of Kairos came again. "Node 2 activated. Signal spreading across the northern grid. Network connection at 42%. Mira opened her eyes. She was breathing hard, but she was still standing. Suddenly, a loud sound shook the walls. "What was that?" Vern shouted. Red lights flashed across the top of the room. Kairos spoke quickly now. "Alert! Unknown object entering Earth's orbit. It is not of human design." Mira turned toward the screen. A shape was moving near the edge of Earth's atmosphere, dark, long, and strange. It didn't look like a ship. It looked like something alive. "It found us," she whispered. "No," Kairos said. "It sensed the reactivation. We still have time. But we must move quickly. The third node is critical. Without it, defense systems will remain incomplete." "Where is it?" Mira asked. The screen showed a forest deep in South America. "A place forgotten by most of the world. You must go there," Kairos said. "But travel will be harder now. The enemy will begin to react." Vern looked at Mira. "You sure you're okay to keep going?" Mira touched her stomach. The baby moved gently, not in fear, but in peace. "Yes," she said. "We're stronger than we look." Outside, the snow had stopped, but above Earth, something had begun to stir. It had watched from a distance for a long time, waiting. Now, it had felt the spark, and it was coming. But so was Myra, and she was no longer just someone's wife. She was becoming something more, someone Earth had not seen in 1,000 years, the anchor of a new age. The wind had changed. As Mira and Vern traveled south, the air no longer felt like before. It wasn't just heat or cold, it was pressure. Heavy, silent, as if the Earth itself was holding its breath. They passed small towns and empty roads. Many places looked normal. People went on with their daily lives, unaware that something strange had entered orbit. That something was watching, but Myra knew. She felt it growing above them, around them. The dark presence had not attacked yet, but it was waiting, watching, like a storm in the sky, waiting for the right moment to strike. Inside the solar truck, Mira sat quietly, holding her round belly. Her body was tired, but her eyes were sharp. Her connection with Kairos had grown stronger. She could now sense distant energy, even when the AI was silent. Vern drove carefully. He had changed too. At first he had just wanted to help her. Now he believed in her. Not just because of what Kairos said, but because he saw her courage every day. "We're close to the third site," Vern said, pointing to the green hills on the horizon. "Just past those trees." Mira nodded. Kairos said, "It's hidden deep in the forest. No roads lead to it." "We'll walk the rest of the way," Vern replied. "I've got supplies in the back." They parked the truck under tall trees. Thick vines and strange plants covered the path ahead. The air smelled of earth, moss, and wildflowers. Birds called from the treetops. Mira stepped carefully, using a walking stick Vern gave her. The baby moved often now, but not in distress. It was calm, as if it understood the journey. Every few minutes, Kairos gave small directions through a pocket device. "Turn west. You are 300 meters from the third core." Finally, they reached a small clearing surrounded by stone pillars. In the center was a flat circle of metal, half buried under the ground. It looked like a forgotten plate, but Mira knew what it was. "It's sleeping," she said softly. She stepped onto the circle. At once, light moved beneath her feet. Symbols lit up around the edges. Anchor confirmed, Kairos said. Beginning awakening process. The ground shook slightly. Vern stepped back as the circle lowered into the earth, taking Mira down with it. She did not panic. She closed her eyes, breathing slowly. The light surrounded her. Soft and warm. She was taken into the core. The room below was darker than the others. The third node was older, weaker. It had not been touched in many lifetimes. Dust floated in the air. The energy sphere in the center flickered like a dying flame. Mira placed her hands on it. Nothing happened at first. Then she felt a strange feeling like pain, not her own, but from the system. This node was hurt, damaged from something long ago. She whispered gently, "I'm here. I will help you." The sphere reacted. Light spread slowly, weak but steady. Kairos appeared beside her. "This node is unstable," the eye said. "It cannot hold long. You must choose now. Activate the link fully or leave it dormant." "What happens if I don't activate it?" Mira asked. "Earth's shield will remain incomplete. When the enemy strikes, the network will fail." Mira looked at the sphere. "And if I do activate it?" "You must give it part of your life." "Energy," Kairos said. "Your body will weaken. There's a chance it may affect the child." Silence filled the chamber. Mira looked down at her belly. The baby moved, slow and soft. She could feel its warmth. Its future. "Is there another way?" she asked. "No," Kairos said. "This node must be repaired now, or all will be lost." Mira closed her eyes. Her mind went back to the day Darren left her at the gas station. Back then, she felt powerless, forgotten, weak, but not anymore. "I will do it," she said. She placed her hands back on the sphere. A bright light surged through the room. Mira felt her strength drain. Her knees shook, her breath slowed. But she stood firm. Around her, the node came to life. Screens lit up, power lines glowed. The sphere pulsed stronger and stronger. The room sang with energy. The broken system was healing after several long minutes. The light faded. Mira fell to her knees. Kairos rushed forward in a blur of light. Life signs stable. Connection complete. Node 3 is online. Mira was breathing hard, but she smiled. Is the baby okay?" "Yes," Kairos said. "The child remains strong. Its energy shielded you both." Vern appeared from the stairwell, eyes wide with worry. He ran to her side and helped her stand. "You're glowing again," he said, "but you look pale." "I'll be okay," Mira said, her voice soft. "We did it." Above them, the forest trembled. The sky darkened as something large moved. Overhead, shadows passed over the trees. Birds flew in every direction. Then the voice of Kairos came again, sharper now. "Enemy has begun early movement. A scout vessel has entered lower atmosphere. They are searching for the signal." Mira's eyes grew serious. "They're coming for me." "Yes," Kairos said. "But you are no longer alone." In that moment, far across Earth, something else awakened. The reconnected nodes sent out signals. Ancient satellites blinked back to life. A silent wave spread across the sky, invisible to normal eyes, but not to the enemy. Above Earth, the dark vessel paused. It felt the change. Humanity, once silent, was speaking again, and at the center of it all was a woman once left behind, now stronger than ever. The sky above Earth had changed. Dark shapes moved silently in orbit, long, smooth, and shadowy, like giant sea creatures swimming through space. These were not human ships. They had no flags, no lights, no sound. They were alive in ways humans could not fully understand. But now, for the first time, they hesitated. Because Earth had spoken. The 3 ancient nodes, long silent, had been reawakened. And at the center of this strange signal was one woman. Mira sat inside Vern's truck, wrapped in a blanket. Her body was weak, but her eyes were sharp. Her hands rested over her large stomach, where the baby kicked softly now and then. The third node had taken much of her strength, but her mind was clear. Across from her, Kairos spoke from a small screen. The IS voice was steady but fast. The network is 65% active. Earth's ancient defense systems are responding. Satellites have begun to reconnect. Shield signals are spreading across major cities. Vern looked up from the dashboard. Does that mean we're safe now? No, Kairos answered. The enemy has changed its strategy. A scout vessel is entering the atmosphere now. It is. Searching for the source of the reactivation, Mira nodded. It's looking for me. Correct, said Kairos. But you are no longer just a target. You are Earth's strongest signal. A symbol. The enemy may try to destroy you, but they will also fear you. Vern tightened his grip on the wheel. What do we do? We make them hear us, said Mira. That afternoon, Mira and Vern returned to the first station, the place where it all began. The gas station in the desert was still quiet, still dusty, but now it stood above something powerful. Kairos had repaired much of the underground system while they were gone. Now deep below the station, machines glowed brighter, smoother, alive with purpose. Mira stood in the center chamber again, hands resting on the core. This time, her presence was stronger. The sphere pulsed the same rhythm as her heartbeat. Kairos appeared beside her as a tall figure of light. Are you ready to speak for Earth? The eye asked. I am, Mira said. Then we will begin. Lights moved across the chamber walls, forming long lines, maps, and energy routes. Above Earth, ancient satellites responded. Hidden stations across oceans and deserts opened again. Everything was waking up. Then Mira stepped into the light. A soft platform lifted her into a new chamber round, high and filled with clear glass walls. It was a transmitter. Her voice, her energy, her life force would be carried across the sky. She closed her eyes and began to speak, not in fear, but in calm strength. Whoever you are, I know you can hear me. You are watching Earth. Maybe you came to destroy. Maybe to rule, but we are not weak. We are not alone. We remember who we are now. The signal went out. Across the globe, radios, screens, and emergency channels picked up her voice. In cities and villages, on ships and in homes, people heard her words. And above the clouds, so did the enemy on a distant space vessel floating. In high orbit, alien creatures paused. Their long limbs moved slowly, sensing something unusual. One of their screens lit up not with pictures, but with energy. The human voice had triggered something old. A shield they thought long broken was coming back online. And this woman, this pregnant human, was the center of it. They began to change. Formation. Weapons powered up. The first attack wave was ordered. Back on Earth, alarms flashed inside the core chamber. Enemy strike incoming, Kairos warned. Multiple objects falling fast. Target location, this station. Vern ran into the chamber. They're coming here. Mira looked calm. Then we make our stand. The outer defense grid is now active, said Kairos. We can protect this station, but only if we complete the final stage. What's the final stage? Mira asked. You must become the beacon. Mira frowned. I don't understand. Kairos stepped forward. You have reactivated the ancient systems, but the energy still needs a focus, a living signal to stabilize and guide it. Only your pattern and your child's energy can hold the field. You must connect to the full planetary system. Will it hurt us? She asked. It will change you. You will not be the same. But it will not harm your child. It will protect both of you. Earth will protect you. Mira took a deep breath. Vern reached out. Are you sure you want to do this? She looked at him, then down at her stomach. I was left here, forgotten. But this world remembered me. If I can stand for it, I will. She stepped onto the core platform. A bright light rose around her, soft at first, then sharp. It wrapped her in silver waves. Her body lifted slowly, eyes closed, arms open. The entire network connected. In that moment, Earth was no longer silent. Above the planet, the alien ships fired. Long beams of red light raced toward the surface, faster than sound. But before they could hit, a massive wave of blue energy rose from Earth like a wall. It spread across the sky, meeting the attack head-on. The blast stopped in mid-air. The enemy's weapons burned out. Their screens went dark, confused. They tried to fire again, but the shield was growing. And from its heart, Mira's voice returned, strong, calm, and full of human will. Down below, the sky above the gas station shimmered with light. People from nearby towns, drawn by strange signals, arrived to see what was happening. They saw Mira floating above the old station, wrapped in glowing light, with her eyes closed in peace. Some took pictures, some cried, but all felt something deep. In their hearts, hope. That day, Earth didn't just survive. It answered. Not with fear, but with strength. And at the center of it all was a woman once left behind, now reborn as the voice of a planet. 3 weeks passed since the light rose from the desert. The world was no longer the same. Across the planet, people talked about the event. Some called it the desert signal. Others named it the day Earth woke up. But most simply remembered the voice that came through their radios and screens, soft, steady, full of courage. They remembered Mira. In the desert, the gas station had changed. It was no longer an old broken place forgotten by time. Now it stood above a living network. Engineers, scientists, and defense teams had gathered there, building what they called the Earth Core Hub. And in the center of it all was Mira. She now lived in a clear dome surrounded by soft lights and quiet machines. Her body had healed. Her child had not been harmed. In fact, the baby was strong, very strong. The medical team said they had never seen such stable growth. But Mira already knew why. The baby had been touched by Earth's energy and something more. She no longer needed Kairos to explain everything. The AI still guided her, but now Mira could hear the planet itself. Through the ancient network, she could feel weather patterns, energy flows, even the thoughts of animals in distant forests. She was connected, not like a machine, but like a mother. Earth had accepted her, and in return, she had accepted Earth. She was no longer just Mira. She was now called the Anchor, a living link between the old systems and the new world being born. Far away, on a different continent, Darren stood in a large glass building. He had returned from the off-world resort after seeing the broadcasts. At first, he didn't care. But when he saw Mira on every news channel, strong, glowing, honored by the world, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Regret. He tried to call. No answer. He tried to visit. Blocked. Finally, he flew to the desert himself. Now he stood near the outer edge of the new Earth Core Hub, watching from behind a security line. The guards would not let him close. One of the scientists, a kind man named Raffi, noticed him. You knew her? Raffi asked. Darren nodded. She was my wife. Raffi looked surprised. She doesn't talk about you. Darren swallowed hard. I made mistakes. Raffi said nothing for a while. Then he added, she doesn't live in the past anymore. She lives for the world now. I want to see her, Darren said. Just for a minute. Raffi looked toward the center dome, where Mira stood under the soft white glow, speaking to a group of engineers. I'll ask, he said quietly. Later that day, Mira received the message. Darren is here. She sat quietly thinking. The baby kicked. She placed a hand over her stomach and smiled. Then she stood. Darren waited near the visitor's edge. The sky was clear. The sun was warm. And then he saw her. She wore a simple white outfit. Her hair was tied back. She walked slowly, with calm grace. She looked peaceful but powerful. Not like the woman he once knew. Stronger. Brighter. He stepped forward. Mira, she stopped a few feet away. I came to say I'm sorry, he said. I left you. I thought I needed space. But I was wrong. You were everything. Mira looked at him, her eyes steady. I needed space too, she said. And I found something greater. He nodded slowly. I see that now. I don't hate you, she added. But I'm not the same person. I've become something else. He looked at her stomach. And the baby? She smiled. Safe, strong, loved. He looked down. I don't know if I can ever fix what I broke. You don't need to fix it, she said gently. Just learn from it. Become better. The world needs that now. Darren nodded, eyes wet. Thank you. I'll go now. Mira watched him turn and walk away. She didn't feel anger. She felt peace. Because her story was no longer about him. That night, Mira stood in the center chamber of the Earth Core Hub, looking up at the stars. The sky was quiet again. The alien ships had not returned. Some believed they had gone. Others thought they were simply waiting. Mira didn't fear them, because Earth was awake now, and so were its people. Across cities and towns, changes had started. Children were taught about Earth's hidden past, about the ancient technology and the long-lost systems. Energy grids were rebuilt using the old node networks. People worked together more. Old borders began to blur. Walls fell. Cooperation grew. They all remembered the woman who had stood alone in the desert and spoken for the planet. One early morning, Mira felt a sharp movement in her belly. The baby was ready. The medical team gathered. Vern held her hand. Kairos offered data, but Mira told it gently to be quiet. She wanted this moment to be natural. After hours of labor, a soft cry filled the dome. A baby girl, small, perfect, eyes bright, the first child born in the new world. They named her Sola, meaning of the sun. Mira held her close, feeling the tiny heartbeat against her chest. For a moment, she felt tears, soft, warm, real. She had been left alone once. Now she had everything, and the world had her.